Edward and the Cabbages. Edward's branch line runs from the station at the bottom of Gordon's Hill. It goes along the coast to a port where the twin tank engines Bill and Ben work. Edward and Boko run this line, and Donald and Douglas, the Scottish twins, help them when things are busy. They all work happily together. Their trains don't need to run fast, but it is not often that they keep the big engines waiting. Usually, it is the big engines who are late. One morning, James was delayed at the big station and Edward had to wait for him. When at last he could start, he wanted to hurry to make up for lost time. Cautioned his driver. Edward slowed, but as he approached the next station, his wheels jolted badly at some points. When Edward had stopped at the platform, the fireman checked him all over, but everything seemed to be in order. Edward set off again. He was beginning to gain speed when he began to feel funny. He complained. Scarcely had he said it when the fireman saw something bumping along the line beside them. He exclaimed. Quickly, the driver crossed the cab and both watched in horror as a round metal object rolled along beside them like a hoop. After a while, it hit a stone and bounced away into a field. Very carefully, the driver applied the brakes and Edward came safely to a halt. He was glad because his front now felt very loose. The driver and fireman climbed down and came to look at his wheels. There was no doubt what the trouble was. One of them wasn't there, said the driver. A little later, the Fat Controller's telephone rang. He listened in astonishment. The Fat Controller put the telephone down and mopped his face with a red and white spotted handkerchief. He said to himself. Next day, Boko helped Edward to the works. Edward's wheel, broken off where the axle joined it but otherwise undamaged, travelled in his tender. The Fat Controller came to see him. He said,